Summer Showdown debut. We got two returning teams, of course. New York Excelsior versus the Houston Outlaws. But everyone get your waves in because we're welcoming 3 new players to the league. We got Lep, we got Doge, and Ansun Jae. I'm excited to see them play today. Very risky for Kellen. I mean, he dropped down to half health, but Houston just didn't want to engage off of that with all 5 members around the corner. They decide to now push through pillars, and Doge has already led the charge and found Gangnam Jin while Kellen wasn't there to protect him. So a dangerous kind of an off-angle push from the New York Excelsior when you kind of want to play this as a death ball, as a unit. Now Kellen is separated away from his support, so Houston isolate, conquer, and move on. So much healing needs. It takes so long to have that first pick happen. Here comes Houston Outlaws pushing for pillar control. Left has already double booped and even killed Gangnam Jin. How do New York even pull this through? Well, the job is mostly done.
Team in this particular meta, could you get yourself essentially another DPS? Huge rampage.
That's a mega rampage. All 4 members of the New York Excelsior, and Doge follows up. He's on fire already. So overtime has been started. Excelsior taking the fight outside the objective, and Kellen doesn't even get to use rampage. And Flora dies too. Houston took the initiative, and it paid off. 5 versus 3. No ults for the Excelsior, and no one there to touch. We're going to round 3.
You can't instantly be given over for an engagement. All that.
And that's the first pick for Houston. And it really sometimes comes down to these fights starting off with either the Ashe or the Sojourn doing just that. And I think New York, when they started on the point, or when Houston started off the point, they didn't have any cover. So that's how New York got the point first. Oh, last second touch from Yaki, and he lifts through the blade into the back line, immediately slices down Gangnam Jin and goes after Kellen. He's below half health. He doesn't have shout. And Ansun Jae is off into the shadows. He's dealing with bigger and better fish on the other side. 99% for the Houston Outlaws in round 3. It doesn't get any more back and forth than this, but the finish line has been crossed, and the Houston Outlaws will get map 1. Doge half health, helping farm up some support. Ult charge. New York starting to surround the fire truck, and Houston aren't very decisive on where they want to push. They have building control, like the left building, and then you see Pelican go on the right, and it's like they know New York are playing kind of isolated apart, and Houston are so good at punishing them. The tunnel, which you kind of see that style of rush played on a Gibraltar when you push it through car wash, but the double headshot from Merritt, that'll be the Kickstarter. Now New York on the bridge, they know this push could be coming. They already used the speed of Ansun Jae and maybe even a shout from Kellen to get out. So free bridge control for the Outlaws after a great pick from Merritt. Or they could take the fight now. The shout already starts from Doge. You got the rally from Lashro. You got kind of a Yaki in your back line, but it's not bothering you too much. Here's the play from Pelican. Finds his supports at the archway, but New York never touched. Are you serious?
Ooh. That's 4 question marks for me about New York Excelsior.
It's paying off. I mean, look at that. A 3-minute 20 timer. That has to be one of the best.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best we've ever seen on this map. That's unbelievably fast for Midtown.
Okay, had kind of Yaki present himself on the bridge, but Ansun Jae couldn't skate out fast enough that how Yaki dropped off the side of the bridge, and Ansun Jae chose the corner and just got shot at. The rest of the Houston Outlaws dominate the high ground, and he burns Yaki to death. That's what you love to see. New York, last fight for the map. It's overtime too. It's the Pelican Blade, but it's countered by the Ansun Jae sound barrier. Pelican can kind of hide out, hope for packs, but he got even more than he asked for. The sound barrier and the rally layered from the Houston Outlaws. They get hit by a 3-man rampage though from Kellen, but Outlaws are still doing okay. They finished off the other tank. Kellen is missing. The rally will keep the remnants of Excelsior kicking, but they can't leave this car, and without a tank, they're taking so much damage, and they just let the zone off New York, and they can't stay on it. Outlaws will go to series point. You got the shout from Doge starting things off, but New York are on the high ground, except Ansun Jae and Kellen are at the back of C. But Flora throws a bot down and cuts off the rotations of the Outlaws, and Pelican tries to make the most of this moment with a Dragon Blade. He slides it through so many pixels right now and still ends up with kills. Finishes off Gangnam Jin. Or are Outlaws gonna really have this time bank? New York will have to touch soon, or this is gonna be unbeatable.
Flores moved over to the Tracer. Could actually get caught out here by a boop on the way in. Yes, it is! Lastro! Lep! They look over and they say, not in our 100 acre. Fight happens in earnest, but Flora almost has the bob and look towards Yaki to once again push that Sisyphean boulder to a map win.
That's all Houston need to do is just push this card. It's New York down her 4 to make a move. And Flora says checkmate and has already picked off Merit 5-on-4. Pelican is separated away from the flock and New York are chasing it down. But Pelican is so wiggly he escapes into the alleyway. And Houston are just trying to live long enough to get their final member back. Lastro is there. Left drops the barrier. Outlaws are going to fight with tooth and nail to get the victory that was assured of them. Merit is close to Bob. New York is fighting through the flames. Quite literally, they're burning to the dynamite, but they use the rally to sustain. It's back and forth. And the rampage from Kellen strikes down 3. Lastro is barely alive, only thanks to the shout of Doge. And the Outlaws with a 4:44 time 8 to 1 minute. A legendary throw to give New York Excelsior a map win.
Oh yeah, this is pretty cursed, Lemon. The Warlocks are eating today, let's put it that way. We've got ourselves a substitution. Doge has gone over to sit on the bench for a while, while Dante, usually the Doomfist maestro of Houston Outlaws, has joined for our final control match.
Of course, Gangnam is holding on to Rally preciously, but he got the rally first from Gangnam. Wasn't able to save Kellen, but maybe it'll help Yaki finish off this fight. He uses the blade, but it's countered by the left sound barrier as they all disperse and try to use their utility to boop Yaki away. He still lives, but without Kellen, New York are just going to struggle to have a good frontal force against Houston, and eventually Outlaws finish off the fight. It will take up to, 95+% to flip it over, so Houston have to play perfect from here on out or else they lose. Houston have a chance to touch though, and they will return in a second. It's 99-99, but round point and the series on the line. New York are on the point. Houston have Rampage in a few more seconds. No Ultraman for New York, and Houston are bunkering down. They've lost Merit. Houston waited too long to make a decision, and now they're frantic and they're panicking. But here's the Rampage from Dante. Hit Kellen and Yaki. Kellen's back on the Doomfist. Floor got 100 charge. He has to make this count. He sees left on the high ground at 1 HP, and this is the last kill that New York need, and the Brooms are out. New York, they know how to win. They take the game 5 against Houston. Gladiators versus the Houston Outlaws, who had a rough start to their season, 0-1 each.
Both teams have recently been the victim of tragedy. Houston, who recently have been slain by the New York Excelsior, one of our least effective teams this season.
So to take an L against New York is red alert. The back room on fire. You have to now try to win maybe against a top team like the Gladiators to kind of make up for that, or I don't know, we could see Houston at the bottom of the standings.
Should be a final fight here. No one from Gladiators is going to have a clutch factor with an ultimate. It's all about the raw mechanics. This is where you look to a player like Kevster to finish things.
Oh, Merit dips shoe yet again, and just Gladiators can't seem to get the trade when these things happen. This is a pretty big Sojourn gap already. Feels like Shu has been first blooded a couple of fights, and Houston winning 199 first round. They start to move up, trying to figure out if they can use the pillar's protection. Do they want to take server, especially from the jump grab? But Mary gets a shot, headshot into Funny Astro, and there's no speed to help Gladiators escape, so they're going to lose everybody in this fight except their possession, because the Gladiators were so close to the flip, and as the fight breaks down, Lastra's dangerously low, but there's no support for the Gladiators. Are the Houston Outlaws going to take the first map against the Gladiators? The only person there to touch is Kevster. He's been booped off. Overtime has started, but Funny Astro is just getting back, and Pelican's on the case, and the Houston Outlaws have done it. They take it, map number 1. First time in 2 years that Houston has ever won a map against the LA Gladiators. There's already harassed Merit into using Coach Gun, not going up the elevator, as Pelican does the same thing to the backline of the Gladiators, already claiming Skewed and Funny Astro. So there's just no healing. So glad there's just no point of being here.
Pelican exploit like Skewed. No, oh, well, that's an Ash diff. Anyway, back to spawn, boys. Some more. It's Merit time, baby.
What is happening?
I heard no one was considering me for Rookie of the Year. Consider this.
So Gladiators are going down a pretty narrow alley, not wanting to keep their supports maybe in the mega room just in case. Dante goes for it. The supports of Glads are hit, using the Bunny Astro speed to get out, but Ryder gets knife pulled by Dante and dragged into the line of fire. So Houston have won back-to-back fights, and we're 10 seconds away from the champions, the #1 team in the league, question mark, from getting full health.
Oh, Kevster is just going to be able to touch, but is straight into the grasp of a Predator. Now Lastro plays the doorman. Goodbye, Bunny Astro. The Rampage booped away from the point, and Ryder can't get on. He's booped by the shield bash. Oh, Lastro, stop bullying Reiner, please. He just wanted an interview with Jake.
Yeah, in these panicky situations for Houston, they gotta talk to each other. And Skewed should have shield bashed to safety. He was standing behind Reiner, and it just wasn't enough body blocking. And you know, you couldn't win the 5-on-4 when you kill Kevster, but surely you can win the fight after you kill the main healer of Skewed. This is all said and done. The Houston Outlaws are going to series point. Or against the wall, but Gladiators are not healthy, and they're locked into a fight that they can't escape in. Pelican finally closes the gap between himself and Ons, and Barrett kills 3. He is having an incredible series.
It is a merit moment once again. And
don't actually offer any high ground control at all. They go for kind of this old school rush strat where they just go through just going through the car wash, and Glads do not want to approach that because Outlaws had control of Mega, a little bit more resources, some cover too to play with. So Glads are just opting for the one fight to win or lose the point A cap, and the poke from Merit has just not been missing, and the follow-up from Outlaws is just deadly. Pelican is on that like butter on toast, and Gladiators haven't killed a single thing this fight. So this has been quite swift for Outlaws on point A. Uh-oh, who's behind them? Is that Pelican? Ons has to be wary of that. Gets brought down to half health. Quick coach gun maneuver, but Pelican still gets the execute, and they should have dealt with Pelican sooner. Now 5-on-4 for the Houston Outlaws on the attack, and Reiner is so low, but he might not even have the shout to get back. They do have the speed of Bunny Astro and the rally to get Reiner back to a healthy position. And Pelican has killed 2 this fight, staggering out Glads, who decided to take a break in the spawn room doors to have 5. Rampage from Dante. How do Houston want to engage this? They have some control of the top bridge. Rampage starts from Dante, Reiner, and Ons anti-heal. Ons can't get the bomb out in time either. And Glads are falling. They don't have a good contest tool unless Reiner wants to step up, but he doesn't want to stagger out, and now there's no one to touch.
The fight that will determine this series, Lemon.
Ons has to be careful how far he wants to present himself. Glads are on the high ground. I see that Kevster is still on top of Shift. He starts to access the backline. He has the sound barrier to stay as long as he can to build up towards the blade. Pelican is a little bit further ahead on the blade, but Ons picks him off. Here's the bob from Merit first, a little bit ahead of Ons. We go to the cart, and it's 5-on-4 for the Gladiators. This could be winnable for Houston to 3-0, one of the best teams in the league, and it's starting to fall their way. Glads are down 2. No Ryder, no Skewed, but you have Kevster and you have a dream to keep this alive. The DPS do it all, and it's just Ons who cancels the bomb. Gladiators are still alive. Ew, it felt like all the cards are on the table for Houston. They had the ace up their sleeve, and even everything going their way, if they don't fully kill all 5 players of Glads, I'm not gonna think the fight's won yet. I'm tainted now after how that went. Pelican's now chasing after Kevster to make sure that he can't get the similar traits in his backline. Now they've kept Kevster in his place. It's time to ground everyone from Glads with the blade for Pelican. 1 swipe, 2 swipe, and 3rd. Houston Outlaws, the patience is paying off.
Yeah, but Bob could be booped, maybe.
And the Glads have to be careful of that mini room, and the Rampage from Dante starts, and 3 members from Glads get hit. Bunny Astro keeps them up with the barrier, and Glads have to depend on Kevster. This blade is up soon, but the job has already been done. It's only a few centimeters away, and the Gladiators have done it. It truly is Houstonable. A reverse sweep on the line, and we're going to Game 5.
Which is that Los Angeles Gladiators are yet to win a control map, which means that Houston Outlaws, by all metrics, should have a huge advantage going into this control map, which will make it even more embarrassing if they lose.
Yeah, I think they actually played Nepal, so Houston won that. against New York. That was map 1 though, 2-1. It was kind of close, not gonna lie.
It's being stuck where she is, and it's once again going to be Pelican on the high ground.
And he's sending it. This is now so important for Houston to win the first fight. They've already used the first May wall to maybe trap Reiner's supports away from him, and Reiner got no help. I mean, skewed his main, and Funny Astro's just gone. So Houston winning this first fight is so pivotal for this May to use the May wall on the point. Though, very pog champ, but Kevster is at the back with a blade, and he's already harassed by Lep and Lastro, and now it's all but like 2 ultimates from Houston instantly drop with the Blizzard freezing up Glads on the approach, and Dante to anti-heal them. Surely those two things combined together is a win for Houston, but a counter rampage from Reiner was used. It hits all 4, forces Lep to use sound barrier, so besides baiting out ults, Glads didn't really accomplish anything here. Without Kevster, this is really chalked. Just did crazy damage to Houston, but killing them is another story. Odds is also nowhere near the fight. He's over on the high ground, so probably couldn't help Kevster finish off these kills. Now Kevster climbs to the high ground, but gets slowed by Pelican, is still living through this. Reiner's back on the Hammond. We haven't seen that in a while. And Glads are doing a ton of damage and just now starting to get these kills. It's 9-9 for Houston. Lastro gets his rally canceled by Odds, who just got a double kill, but still Glads don't really have the numbers to keep this going. It's 3-on-3 now that Houston will pull ahead with the Blizzard. It's enough to zone them off, and Houston take round 1.
If you had to try and deal with the May, they are no longer going to be relevant because Pelican's returning to the Genji. Here's a look at Dante. The pings and the patience, and a kill on Reiner.
And just the pull, just in case. Absolutely won, and left sound barrier might help Houston get the trades they need. Glads don't have any healers, and Merritt just killed 3. He's really clutching up when Houston needed the most. Now with 6-on-5, if you care about the numbers, Kevster pulls out the blade. He gets booped away by Lastro, rallies his team, and in the back is Pelican. Kevster keeps him in check. Houston, though, they go towards the squishies of Gladiators and have killed actually more at the start of this fight. It's 90% to 90 with Houston in control, and there's only Kevster and Reiner, and they're on opposite sides of the world from each other. Houston just have to bunker down and not choke this. This is the only instruction Jake will ever give you as a Pelican blade to cut off the rotations of gods. They still make it to the point to touch, but Pelican stands tall above Kevster while he still lives, and Odds' Tracer is here to keep the overtime wick burning. Reiner will be back. He's actually still in spawn with the rampage. Lep finishes this fight off, and Houston Outlaws have denied the reverse sweep by the LA Gladiators.
There's no way that you can't be a Merritt moment, right? The player of the match is Mr. Merritt, the hit scan demon. The daredevil when it comes to the railgun, performing consistently all the way through this series, I think is the most important part when it comes to giving him player of the match. Merritt was always a threat, and to be honest, basically won Hollywood by himself.
Yeah, you guys gotta all tell your friends who are asleep or doing other things right now to go watch this match back.